Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. It is time. We are going to do a 2020 NBA mock draft here. We have Jackson Law, Jordan Dangle, and Jeremy Rinaldi. Myself, Trey Daubert. So what the plan is today is we're going to do a live lottery simulation, and then we are going to take over as the GMs and sort of pick prospects to see how this could possibly shake out. We will then do another one once the full lottery is actually complete, and we'll have articles for each giving our explanations behind each pick. So this was Jeremy's idea. I'm going to send it over to him. What's going on today, Jeremy?
How's it going? Okay, so we're going to have each of the four of us make 3 picks each, and then the last few picks, we're going to pick them together as kind of a joint general manager. So I'm going to go over to the Tankathon website right now, and we're going to simulate the lottery.
Jackson, Jordan, what's going on today?
Not much. I'm actually I got a bit of a different backdrop today. I'm at my parents' house. Actually, it's my sister's birthday. But I can let them all stay downstairs, stay away. My dad's got a nice office, but the internet's pretty crappy. So if I cut in and out or something, I apologize.
Make sure to watch Jackson's video. Backyard football. I just started that today. Somehow, some way, we did not plan that with the backyard baseball series.
No, it was perfect timing. It was incredible. When I saw that Carl put that out there, like, "Hey, Carl, nice backyard baseball video." I'm like, "What? I just finished my video. That's so weird."
I also need to know whose chair is squeaking.
That may be me. Sorry, I'll try to stay as still as possible.
Jordan, what's up?
Not much. Just got off work. I'm ready to do this.
All right. So, Jeremy, what do we got for results here? Live lottery.
Right. So I just sent the lottery over. I'm going to send it in our group chat in 1 second. So with the first pick, we got Atlanta moving up 3 spots to get the first pick. At 2 is Cleveland. 3 is Minnesota. 4 is Washington, who moved up 5 spots. 5 is Golden State. 6, Detroit. 7, New York. 8, Chicago. 9, Charlotte. 10, Phoenix. 11, San Antonio. 12, Sacramento. 13, New Orleans. And 14, Portland.
So just send that in our site group chat. I will edit the live lottery in, but those are the results here. I guess I'm going first. What's the order again?
Yeah, so you can go first. I'll go second. And then we had Jackson going third and Jordan going fourth.
All right, so I am the Atlanta Hawks general manager. My first question is, would anybody like to trade up?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of the stuff I've been reading saying a lot of the top picks are going to involve trades. A lot of teams are trying to trade down.
Oof. I guess I'm going to – I think this guy sucks too. I'm going to take Anthony Edwards. Let's hope that he pairs well with Trey Young, get a nice backcourt going. There were times – I didn't watch a ton of college basketball this year, but there were times he looked lost. I'm worried if he's going to even pan out at all. But he seems like a good athlete, 6'5". Hopefully can develop a nice shot. So we'll go with that one for pick number 1. Do we have any thoughts?
Yeah, he is really athletic, as you said, and his shot looked really good sometimes and then others really bad. Like the first game I saw him was in the Michigan State game where I believe he had 37 points. He was hitting almost every 3 he took, and I was really impressed that game. And then there's some games after that where he just struggled. I think he ended up finishing at 29% from 3, which isn't what you want in like a top prospect who you're panning out to be a high contributor behind the 3-point line. But he has a lot of upside, especially as an athlete. He can improve on defense. So it's definitely a pick that could pan out for Atlanta.
Yeah, I think Atlanta would be a good landing spot for him. Just like you said, Jeremy, his 3-point shooting hasn't been that great, but pairing him with Trey Young, and if they're really full on into Kevin Huerter, then they can play Young at the 1, Huerter at the 2, and then Edwards can slide over at the 3 and be like a slashing, attacking wing, while Young and Huerter kind of chill out somewhere on the perimeter while he's driving into the paint. So I think it could work out. I mean, I'm kind of like Trey. I probably wouldn't have him. Like, it's hard. There's not like one pick in this draft that's like that guy's the number one pick. It's all
That's why
about
I want to trade
system and
down.
Yeah, totally agree.
it's all about system. It's all about fit. I think him being not that great of a 3-point shooter, going to a team that has 3-point shooters can help him.
All right. So I got Cleveland at 2. This is another tough spot for me because I have some of the guards rated the highest, and Cleveland's taken a point guard the past 2 drafts. They took Colin Sexton 2 years ago and Darius Garland last year. So I'm gonna go with Onyeka Okongwu here, and this is the same thing as Trey said. I mean, if I were Cleveland, I would definitely really look into trading down. But I think Okongwu would be the best pick for Cleveland here, just because, I mean, Kevin Love, he's not going to be a part of their long-term plans. I don't think they've been trying to trade him for the past year and a half. They got Drummond, but it's expected that Drummond's going to leave in free agency. Tristan Thompson, he might leave too. And Okongwu has a lot of upside. He's really good protecting the rim. He's only 6'9", so he's on the smaller side for a 5. His outside game needs work, but he's got some promising attributes to his shot. He's good on the low post, which I think will help a lot with spacing for Cleveland. As you know, they got some guys along the wing too that could shoot. And I think he could be a good match for Colin Sexton, I think Colin Sexton's the better point guard of him and Garland. So I think he and Sexton can run the pick and roll well. And, Okongwu could be a good rim runner for Cleveland.
I got nothing on this one. Do you guys have anything? I think you covered it.
Yeah, I think you got it.
All right, so we're going to move it over to Jackson now, who's acting as the Minnesota general manager with the 3rd pick.
Yeah, and just thinking about Minnesota's needs, they're okay on guards right now with sorry, I moved my chair, Trey, squeaking again. So I think I'm going to go, since they traded away Wiggins, I think I'm going to go with Isaac Okoro here at number 3. I've been pretty high on him coming into the draft. I think he's arguably the best defender, and he has the offensive tools to be a pretty good scorer, but I think his defense is going to be the number one thing that teams are really going to look at him for. And I think just kind of as time has gone on, I think people have really started to appreciate his defense, and people are really starting to pay attention more to his offensive game. He doesn't have a horrible or a bad offensive game by any means. It's just probably not where you'd want it. But the ball's not going to be in his hands that much anyway with D'Angelo Russell at the point, and then having someone like Karl Anthony Towns as like your big star, your big moneymaker that's supposed to be your attraction to the team. So I think he can go there and kind of be what Wiggins never really panned out to be for the Wolves.
I think this is a bad fit because Okoro is really good on defense and Karl Anthony Towns plays no defense. He can't fit in with that.
I'm not high on Towns, so in fact, I would even be.
Me neither.
Yeah, I was gonna add that. Okoro's, like you said, he was really great on defense. And again, this is another spot where I would consider trading back if I were Minnesota, just because I don't think they can win anything with Karl Anthony Towns.
Nope.
He's very one-sided. But Okoro's a good kind of building block, especially he's definitely a project on the offensive end. So if you could train him on offense, he's arguably the best defender in the class, so he could be a good prospect for them in the long-term future. All right, so now we got the Wizards on the clock, and Jordan's going to be making the pick.
Well, obviously, like it's been stated before, there's not really one top guard prospect to pick, but with the Wizards, John Wall, he's been injured the past couple seasons. He's getting older. They're going to need a new point guard. Yes, they have Bradley Beal, but he's been rumored in trade talks. So with the Wizards, I will pick LaMelo Ball.
Wow.
It was between him and Cole Anthony, and I'm not that high on Cole Anthony. So,
Well, John Wall probably is the worst contract in the league. So
It's
he'll be on
unbelievable.
his way out soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty high on LaMelo Ball. Obviously, he's got to get stronger. He's got to put more weight on because I believe he's 6'7". Only I think he's 180. But with an NBA strength coach, that's definitely possible. He's a pass first guy, so I think that could, if they're gonna take a point guard, that should mean that they're out on John Wall and kind of in on Bradley Beal, especially if it's a guy like LaMelo Ball who is a pass first guy, so he's gonna have to set up Beal a lot. So that's gonna be a big thing with the Wizards is who they're gonna bank on as their star in the future. All right, so at 5, we got the Golden State Warriors. Trey's going to be making that pick.
I'm going to go Obi Toppin. We're going to get a big in there that can shoot. And that's my explanation. I don't want anybody clogging the lane. We're going to get all 5 guys out there. Toppin can hit some shots. No James Wiseman. We're getting all Splash Brothers out there. So there you go.
Does anyone have anything?
I just think Toppin is just a glorified Aaron Gordon. Like, that's maybe in the right spot. That's not such a bad thing, but, maybe it could work in Golden State. But I like him and I don't like him at the same time.
Yeah, I agree with what Jackson said. I think Golden State arguably is the best fit for him just because he's kind of he's almost at his ceiling right now. He's one of those prospects who there's not much that he's going to improve on, especially there's a lot of questions about his defense, but his offensive game is arguably the best it's going to be. So if he goes to a Warriors team who's going to be in the mix for 2-3 more years, I think that's the best spot for him. Anyone else got anything on Obi Toppin? All right, so at number 6, I got Detroit. I'm going to go with Denny Avdia, the small forward, who's been playing really well in the Israel League right now. The Pistons just traded away Drummond, so I don't think they're going to go back to a guy like Wiseman who plays a similar style to Drummond where he's just a 5 who rebounds and blocks shots as opposed to a stretch guy. They still have Blake Griffin. They have Derrick Rose, and they have some other young guards in their backcourt. So I think arguably their biggest needs forward. They took Sioku Domboya, I believe that's how you pronounce it, last year. I haven't heard much from him. And I think Avdia can step in right away as that, starting 3. Maybe he could drop down to the 4 and kind of fulfill a need for the Pistons going forward.
Never saw the guy play, so I got nothing.
I like his game. I think he's got really, really good potential, especially as an outside scorer. I think someone, I think it was Carl that said it best. He's like a Luka Doncic light. That's kind of like what his potential is. So even if you're the Pistons and you could get just like a smidget of what Luka Doncic is, then you walk away from the draft happy, especially at the number 6 spot.
Yeah, he's been scoring the ball really well lately. A lot of people post clips on him on Twitter.
His shooting has definitely improved since the Israeli League has resumed.
Yeah, he's definitely not the ball handler that Luka Doncic is or even was when Doncic was coming out.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason. Like that's one of the bigger knocks on him is that he's not the ball handler that Doncic was. Yeah. All right, so at 7, we got New York Knicks, and Jackson, you're on the clock.
Yep, so the Knicks, they have a plethora of bigs. They don't need anyone on that end. They need a nice guard that'll fit well beside RJ Barrett. So I'm going to go with Tyrese Halliburton from Iowa State. I'm pretty high on him. I think he's just a really solidly built all-around guard. He can do pretty much anything that you want. He's not like a big high name, and honestly, in this this draft that we're doing, New York kind of got screwed, and I think that I was trying to think of deals in my head to try to move up because I think LaMelo is kind of the guy that they're aiming for. I just didn't know like what a trade would look like
Sounds pretty
for
realistic,
that.
though. If the Knicks are getting screwed, sounds pretty realistic.
And I know, and so it is. And if I'm playing it like I am a New York GM, I'm going to fumble it, of course, and not trade up, and I'm going to take the second best option. But I think Tyrese Halliburton will do everything that the Knicks need him to do. Like I said, he's a good athlete, great passer, can shoot the ball, solidly built all around.
Yeah, I almost don't like that pick because I'm really high on Halliburton. I have him around 5th right now on my board. I think he's really good. I think he's really underrated. So I almost don't want him going to the Knicks just because they kind of screw up everything. But I definitely agree with what you said. He's definitely getting overlooked, and I'm really not sure why because he's got ideal size for point guard now. I mean, he's 6'5". He's a really good passer. He plays pretty good defense, and he could score when he wants to. So I really like that pick. All right, so going over to Jordan here at 8, Chicago Bulls.
What's supposed to be who was supposed to be the number 1 pick? James Wiseman. That is who the Chicago Bulls will take. They're adding length. They have Lauri Markkanen and Zach LaVine. James Wiseman, 7'1" with a 7'6" wingspan. And he only played in 3 games last year, with all the NCAA allegations and stuff. But in those 3 games, he averages double-double. Scoring, rebounding, and length. What more could the Bulls need right now?
Yeah, I think he's falling not just because he only played a couple games, but I think if he had played a full season, we'd be talking about him as probably a top 3 guy. So I think that's a good fit for the Bulls, especially because they have most of their players can stretch the floor. So if they can get a solid rim protector in Wiseman, and I mean, he can develop his outside game. I believe he's been working on that since he stopped playing for Memphis. So it's definitely a possibility. I think that's a solid upside pick at 8 when you get a guy like that who is going to come in and probably get you a double-double right off the bat. Does anyone else have anything on Wiseman to the Bulls?
See, I'm like the same with you, Jeremy, with Halliburton going to New York. I like Wiseman, and I don't like him going to Chicago just because Chicago right now is another one of those franchises that just can't get their act together. They have no idea. I feel like the players don't like the coaches don't like the players. I don't know. It's just weird. But they did a great job to hit it out of the park last year with drafting Kobe White. So I think drafting Wiseman, even though they like Wendell Carter Jr., I think he's a solid, possibly he could be a solid backup. He could be like kind of their version of a Montrezl Harrell, someone that's a little bit undersized, but you wouldn't know it from the way that he plays. So I don't hate the Wiseman pick. I like it. And I think this is like the max of his slide if he is going to slide in the draft, because like you said, he is working on his 3-point game. If he gets that 3-point game to work, then he's going to be an elite player.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with what you said about the Bulls organization because it'll be interesting to see what they do with LaVine. It's been rumored that LaVine's going to want out, and Chris Dunn, they still have him as a backup point guard, but I've also heard he might leave. So if they lose 2 guards, you might hear that they look at a guard in the draft. Mm-hmm. They might even want to trade up, which I wouldn't advise, but, that's another organization where you really just don't know. All right, at 9, we have the Charlotte Hornets. Trey's on the clock with them.
Well, I feel like Charlotte needs everything, so I don't have to pick any team needs here. Terry Rozier stinks. I don't care what anybody says. That guy's awful. I'm going to go with Killian Hayes. I've never seen him play, but he seems like one of the top guys that is remaining. From the little that I've read, maybe he can turn into a smart point guard, something like Spencer Dinwiddie that can really run this offense. They've said that he's better than Frank Ntilikina. I really don't know a ton here, but I'm going to go with the upside.
No,
Yeah,
he's
I've
he's
heard a
def-
lot of people. Oh, you can
uh,
go, Jackson. My bad.
I was just gonna say no. He's definitely a good pick there. He's got a really good floor vision. His passing is already probably above, if not on par with some of the best passers in the class. He may be a class above some of those guys. Um, but it's a great pick. It's a good start, and like you said, the Hornets, they need everything. So you honestly can't go wrong with this pick.
Yeah, he's got a lot of upside, especially as a passer and as a playmaker at the point guard position. My only concern with him is scoring, just because he's primarily with his left. Like in all the stuff I've watched of him, it's been just left hand, left hand. So defenders are going to pick up on that. So he definitely needs to add, strength with his right hand in order to be more of a complete scorer. But that's definitely not out of the question. I mean, he's an NBA caliber guy, so there's definitely the chance that he can add a solid, right hand game to his arsenal, so he could really pan out. And he has the upside to be, a top 3 player in this class. All right, so at number 10, I got Phoenix. I'm on the clock with Phoenix. It's between Devin Vassell and Cole Anthony for me, but I think I'm going to go Cole Anthony. I think Devin Vassell's similar to Mikal Bridges, who they already have. I really like him as the 3-and-D wing defender. So I'm going to go Cole Anthony. They have Ricky Rubio as their point guard right now, who's primarily a passer. And Cole Anthony's going to bring that scoring slasher kind of game to Phoenix. And I think that could definitely help Booker. Booker can play the point as well. So Cole Anthony, a lot of people are saying that he's more of an off-ball point guard, which I'm not sure I agree with, but the Suns have Booker running the point a lot when Rubio's out. So I think Anthony could fulfill that off-ball point guard role very well with Booker. So I think that'd be a smart pick for Phoenix at 10.
He's one of the guys I hope falls to the Celtics because it feels like Kemba Walker's knees. Backup point guard is actually a need for them, but that's my only take on it.
Anyone else? Anything on Anthony to the Suns? Or?
Ricky Rubio. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Rubio's a primarily a passer. I mean, the Jazz got rid of him in exchange for Mike Conley. And Mike Conley's also primarily a passer, but he's a much better scorer than Rubio. So I think Rubio's like a solid backup for Phoenix, but I think Anthony could get the job done as a scorer much better than Rubio can. All right, so moving over to the 11th pick, San Antonio Spurs with Jackson on the clock.
Okay, so I've thought about this one for a minute, and I think San Antonio, it's hard because it's like they're holding on to DeRozan and Aldridge longer than what they need to. I think they should have got rid of them this past year.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna go with Aaron Nesmith from Vandy. I think I'm saying his last name right. His season was cut short because of injury. He only played a handful of games, but that hasn't scared teams in the past from drafting really great prospects. He shoots lights out from three. I want to say he has probably the best shooting percentage of someone that shoots at his volume in the class, and he's also great on defense. Can kind of step in there as a solid wing option for them in a possible building block for the future. I wouldn't go with a guard here. They got plenty of guards to choose from. Bigs, they may be another question, but Popovich has always found a way to make his bigs work. So I think Nesmith would be a great pick here.
Yeah, 52% from three this past season. I believe he had 23 points per game. He's a really good scorer.
He was playing lights out until he got hurt.
Yeah. There's a lot of upside there, especially, he's a relatively good defender too. So 3-and-D, he'd be like one of the ultimate 3-and-D guys. And yeah, I like what you said about, them holding on to DeRozan and Aldridge. it's a little weird with that situation. I don't think either of them will be there in 2 years. And I think Popovich is going to try and adapt more to like the small ball that the NBA has been playing. And I think Neesmith is a big first step for him as just primarily a 3-point scorer. All right, at 12, Jordan's got the Sacramento Kings.
Let's see. I will go with Devin. How do you pronounce that? Vassell. Like you're saying, he's they already have Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox to handle the ball and shoot the ball, but just really another 3-and-D type of guy that can help them stretch the floor. He's very athletic and very versatile. And I don't know much about him. I do know he hasn't passed a lot in his past 2 seasons at Florida State, which is something that he can work on. But that's a little.
Yeah, he as a freshman, I know that he wasn't really in the rotation much as a freshman, and then his sophomore year, he really shined as a 3-and-D guy. Other than like we were talking earlier with Isaac Okoro, Vassell's got to be up there in consideration for the best defender in the class. So, I mean, at 12, that's a good pick for Sacramento, who, like you're saying, they already have the point guard play. So I think that's a smart pick for them at 12.
Yeah, in the mock draft that I did way back before COVID hit, I had Sacramento taking Devin Vassell. I like his game. I think he fits really well alongside Fox and Hield.
So we have 2 picks left, kind of out of spot. So I guess what we can say is maybe give your top 2 guys on the board. We can go around to each person.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll go first here because I really only have one. Isaiah Stewart's my guy. I guess apparently he was going to go to Syracuse, but Jim Boeheim snubbed him and wouldn't shake his hand as a little kid or something. So he went to Washington. That's my kind of guy. I like guys that hold grudges, so I'm in on him. He seems like a tough, gritty rebounder that maybe can do some damage in the post. Sign me up for him.
Yeah, and he shot well from the free throw line, which could definitely translate to an outside shot in the NBA. So he's a guy with a lot of upside. Plus, he was a 5-star recruit. So I think teams will be interested in that. For New Orleans, they kind of have a complete roster. I'd like maybe a guy like Kira Lewis in there. I know they have Drew Holiday, but Lewis brings a great amount of speed into their backcourt. And Lewis is a pretty solid passer as well. I mean, he's got to work on definitely maintaining control because sometimes he plays a little too fast. But I think he's a guy who, can get the ball to guys like Ingram and Zion and even Jackson Hayes really well. And he could work really well in the pick and roll with all of those guys. Portland, I don't think they would go guard, especially because, you got Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, even Anthony Simmons they drafted 2 years ago. So I could see, guys like Sadiq Bey or Patrick Williams maybe getting taken as small forwards. Both of them are somewhat of 3-and-D guys. Sadiq Bey more so than Patrick Williams. But I think both of them offer a certain amount of upside to Portland.
For New Orleans, I think maybe their biggest need would be backup guard play because, like you said, Jeremy, they kind of have a full team right now. So they're really just kind of trying to pick a good backup here. So I think someone like Theo Meldon or Tyrese Maxey may be a good option here. Just another option to run beside Josh Hart with that second unit. I think you could kind of take either one. And maybe Meldon, he'd probably be the better option because he's more of a true point guard than Maxey is. But even Meldon is kind of like a combo guard. And then I do also agree with the Trailblazers. I think Sadiq Bey would be the best option here, just because he could be taken as a small forward. He could be that 3-and-D guy for them. because they also have guards. They're fine. Bigs, they got they're good on bigs. So wing play is definitely something that they need to address.
I think just going off of what you guys said, I think New Orleans, they really need more backup guard play. So I guess my top guy in that spot would be Tyrese Maxey. And then for Portland, I'd either take Sadiq Bey or maybe even Precious Achiuwa. I watched him throughout the year. At Memphis, I'm a really big fan of him. He can stretch the floor, and he needs to work on his shooting a little bit, but I think every now and then he could be a solid option for them.
All right, so that takes us to the end. We will do the full 30 teams mock draft when that is released. Hopefully more people we can get for that. But you guys have any other closing thoughts here?
Yeah, there's just one thing I want to add in. One guy that, draft Twitter is really high on him, so I know if I didn't include him, draft Twitter would definitely have something to say about it. I think the ultimate high risk, high reward player who we didn't have in our lottery is Alexei Pokusevsky, the 7-foot international power or point forward almost. He almost plays in a point guard role. He's a really good passer for someone his size. He can score the ball really well, but he's very thin and, he's somewhat of a liability on defense right now. He's a real high risk, high reward guy. Someone I'm not going to compare him to Giannis, but, Giannis was thought of as that when he was coming up as well. So it'll be really interesting to see where he kind of gets slotted in. I think he could either be better than Porzingis, or he could just not even be thought of as any NBA talent after a couple of years. So it'll be really interesting to see how he fares in the next couple of months leading up to the draft.
And I'm followed by his fan account on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw that you sent that yesterday. Twitter loves him.
Jackson has been doing a lot of draft profile series on some of the prospects. I know Jeremy has done some stuff too. So make sure to check those out on the site. I am definitely not caught up on these prospects. I am way behind. So by the time we do the next mock draft, I'll have my homework prepared.